This is the Realme 11 Pro Plus, one of the snazziest looking mid-rangers we've come across in a while. But besides the fancy design, what does this phone have to offer? I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's find out in our Realme 11 Pro Plus review. The Realme 11 Pro Plus is the sequel to the Realme 10 Pro Plus, which wasn't officially released in all markets. One of the major features you'll find here is a 200 megapixel main cam with a cutting-edge Samsung sensor. But the first thing that catches the eye is the far-out design, which was made in collaboration with a former designer for Gucci. You get concentric circular accents on the round camera bump, a smooth vegan leather backing, and what looks like a zipper running down the middle. You even get stitching on the leather. The runway-inspired look is not something you see every day. On the front of the Realme 11 Pro Plus is a curved 6.7-inch OLED with a 1080p resolution and 120Hz refresh rate. The picture here is sharp and contrasty, and you get support for 10-bit color and HDR10+ video. There are plenty of settings to tweak the colors with, and you can achieve excellent color accuracy. This screen isn't the brightest we've tested, but is plenty bright. We measured a maximum of around 470 nits with the manual brightness slider, and this can boost up to almost 800 nits in auto mode when you need it. And the 120Hz refresh rate smooths out movement on screen, and the behavior is pretty straightforward, dialing down to 60Hz when idling to save a bit of energy. For audio, the Realme 11 Pro Plus has a pair of stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos support. They have good loudness, and the sound quality is good too, with nice vocals and highs and some bass. If you'd like to check out for yourself and compare to other phones, you can use the provided link. You can wake up and unlock the Realme 11 Pro Plus with an optical under-display fingerprint reader. It's quite responsive. And while storage isn't expandable through microSD, you can get the phone with 256 or 512 gigs on board, or even a whole terabyte. The interface of the phone is Realme's latest Realme UI 4.0, which brings a few customizations on top of what you'd see in stock Android. And Realme promises software support as well, 2 generations of OS updates and 3 years of security patches. If you'd like to learn more about this interface, you can check out our dedicated Realme UI video. Now let's talk about the chipset. Here you get a MediaTek Dimensity 7055G, which is nearly identical to both the Dimensity 1080 and the Dimensity 920 found within the 2 previous models. So as far as performance goes, you get basically a 3rd generation in a row without any real updates, besides new support for the 200 megapixel camera. Still, while this is no flagship killer, the benchmark scores aren't bad. Actually, they're pretty decent for the price range, and the day-to-day experience is smooth. The Realme 11 Pro Plus is powered by a 5000 mAh battery, and it does a good job as far as battery life goes, earning an endurance rating of 112 hours in our proprietary tests. And on top of that, the phone supports a 100-watt SuperVOOC charging, and the compact gallium nitride charger comes in the box. It's quite fast, able to charge the phone from 0 to full in 28 minutes, and just 15 minutes on the charger would get you up to 63%. Another impressive feature I've briefly mentioned already is the 200 megapixel main camera, which is paired with an 8 megapixel ultrawide and a 2 megapixel macro cam. The main cam uses Samsung's ISOCELL HP3 sensor. That's the next generation after the HP2 inside the Galaxy S23 Ultra, but it's a bit smaller physically. The camera also features advanced faster OIS with a 40% increase in lens reset speed. The main camera bins pixels to save 12.5 megapixel photos by default, and during the day they are excellent, easily flagship grade. There's plenty of detail, nice contrast, no noise, and dynamic range which is wide but not over the top. The color presentation is nice too. The main cam supports 2 times lossless zoom, and these zoomed photos are great, with the detail level almost as rich as the default photos. The rest of the properties are identical. On top of that, the main cam's new sensor is also meant to provide 4 times lossless zoom for the first time on a smartphone. We wouldn't exactly call it lossless, but it's still better than a simple digital crop and upscale. The level of detail is okay, and while there is some visible noise, it's not overwhelming. There's another neat feature when it comes to zooming. The auto zoom can use AI to zoom in on any subject you select in the viewfinder with proper framing. And if you take portrait mode shots, these will be at 2 times zoom by default. These have good subject rendition and separation, and an acceptable level of detail. In low light conditions, the Realme 11 Pro Plus will automatically use this auto nightscape processing. These photos from the main cam are bright and well exposed, with wide dynamic range, pleasant colors, and low noise. The detail level here isn't bad. Turning the nightscape off will lead to slightly more detailed and sharper photos, but they have a more narrow dynamic range with blown highlights. The main cam can record videos in up to 4K resolution at 30 FPS. These are top-notch, with a ton of detail, great looking colors, and wide dynamic range. The fine details and foliage are quite natural looking too. We also like the low-light videos from the main cam. They are bright, colorful, and detailed. The dynamic range is wide enough, and the noise is pretty low too. One drawback though is that electronic stabilization doesn't work in 4K resolution, a bit of a bummer. Switch to 1080p though, and you get always-on stabilization on the main cam, which works great. Now let's talk about the 8-megapixel ultra-wide cam. Its photos are pretty impressive for this sort of camera. There's enough detail, good contrast, balanced dynamic range, and nice-looking, vibrant colors. The ultra-wide photos shot with the help of auto nightscape aren't great, but they're usable. The level of detail is okay, and noise is tolerable. 2-megapixel close-ups from the macro cam are poor, as expected, with mediocre detail, visible noise, and sometimes desaturated colors. Selfies are good though. They're taken with the 32-megapixel front-facing cam, and they have pleasant colors, wide dynamic range, and enough detail. So there you have it, the Realme 11 Pro Plus. It turned out to be an excellent mid-ranger with this unique design, nice screen and speakers, a flagship-grade main camera, and fast charging. The software support from Realme is nice to have too. The most notable downsides here are the mid-range level chipset and the lack of ingress protection, and video stabilization in 4K would have been nice to have. But if these things don't bother you, then the Realme 11 Pro Plus could be worth checking out. Thanks for watching guys. If you're looking for alternatives to the Realme 11 Pro Plus, one option could be Xiaomi's Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus, or you could have a look at the Samsung Galaxy A54. Let us know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.